And at the beginning with Daughter of Water in reverse, saying you may have some resistance or some fear or some doubt to remove in order to experience this. I often think of like a teenager in love. When I see the Page of Cups, it means, you know, feeling like that puppy love energy, or feeling like you're totally not obsessed with something, but passionate about something, totally engrossed with or consumed with something that really lights up your heart and fills your heart. And I see here with the Six of Water in reverse, or the Six of Cups in reverse, there may be something from your past that is preventing you from feeling young again. Both of these cards are very young cards. They have to do with children. They have to do with the inner young part of ourselves. Is there something from the past that you feel maybe drained your cups away, where your emotional energy was spent, or that it brought you displeasure? You know, something from the past that sort of didn't fill your garden, didn't make the flowers bloom. Because the opportunity here at the beginning of April is to see what does make me feel happy, what does make me joyful, what makes me feel like a teenager in love, what makes me feel like dancing and skipping and singing. Is there something from the past that is preventing me from doing that? You know, is there something that is there something from the past that is displeasurable to me? And how can I let that go, or open it up, or make a different decision to hold the water? Daughter of Cups usually has a cup in her hand, which she does here. What is it that I want to keep, and what is it that I want to let go of? And I see the water draining away in both of these with this in reverse. So what is it that I want to fill my cup with? What makes me joyful? What makes me happy? Where do I want to invest my heart energy is really the opportunity and the question at the beginning here of April. Does it make me happy to put my heart and energy into this thing? And what I see here too is Two of Water, which means love, which means partnership, connection. When I think about nurturing something, you know, if I'm looking at where the water is flowing, it's really nurturing a connection. It's nurturing a partnership, and it's having integrity and vision within this partnership. So it could be a partnership with someone else, or even just partnership with yourself. You know, this can be self-love. So what takes you into the future, Libra? Do you have, with this in reverse, it makes me question, do you have a vision of the future being a certain way? Like it's stuck? Or that things are not progressing forward, that there's no new land to discover? Because with these cards showing up, in the reverse, there's some doubt, fear, or resistance that needs to be removed. But the energy is here, saying there is room for this partnership to be nurtured or grown. And there is a future here. There is new land to be discovered. But it's going to require love and integrity to do that. And maybe it's even love and integrity in your own self, Libra. It's possible that there is a way to go forward in the future that you carry those two things with you, and it really nurtures all of this growth. So my question to you at the opening of April is, how can you look to the past to see what made you joyful? Where maybe you invested in things that left you displeased, and how can you nurture this connection, whether with another person or with yourself, that leads you forward into a vision of the future, a vision of what's possible, about what you want to build or grow or create. 3 is a creative number. It's a card about growth. And so with all this water, I'm really seeing, like in all of these, it's funny, all this water and plant energy. What do you want to nurture to make it grow so that you can get to this sort of sweet smelling lavender and fill your fields with whatever it is that you enjoy, that you find pleasure in, that you find love in? Where's your integrity? These are actually really beautiful cards. But in the reverse position, there may be some doubt. There may be some learning of lessons from the past in order to make sure that you're nurturing love, that you're nurturing connection, again, with yourself or someone else, and that you're nurturing and feeding this beautiful future this vision of the future that you'd like to create. And I see here, in the background, there's all these fields of lavender. So what can you plant and water and nurture to make grow so that you have all these fields of lavender to walk in, Libra? It's really actually beautiful cards here, but there's something to be learned or just reviewed. And Mercury in retrograde is a perfect time to reflect, to review, to go over like what worked for me, what didn't work for me, where do I want to invest my emotional energy, and what are the results that I'm going to implement so that I get this future that I'm looking for. Really, really interesting and beautiful cards here. Beginning of April for you, Libra. Really opportune moment to reflect and look on the past and make decisions based on that. Then in the middle of the month, we have the Six of Earth, which is in reverse. It's called Breakthrough here. And both of these cards, Breakthrough, Six of Coins, and Balance, are about finding balance, finding equilibrium, finding out where can I put efforts so that I reap rewards that are equitable. Like, how do I want to spend my time so that I can find this balance? And you Librans are all about balance. So this means, this is usually equivalent to the Chariot, forward movement. I'm thinking about it in terms of a cart that goes forward. Usually with the Chariot, there's two horses and the wheels on the cart. So this is saying sort of balance your load. Breakthrough happens when we get an insight from making sure that everything is orderly around us, making sure that things are in equilibrium, that what we give out, we're also able to receive, that it's not us always giving and it's not us always receiving, that there is fairness, equilibrium, there is I want to say compatibility for some reason is what I'm getting with this card, or an equivalency between what we share and what we receive. That's really the power of the Six of Coins. It allows us to be benevolent, because when there's an abundance of things, we're able to share with the world, and we get this breakthrough of, there's enough for everyone. I feel balanced. I feel fed and nurtured, and therefore it inspires me to feed and nurture others. That's what breakthrough comes from, a realization of the balance of things. And that's what this card's about too. We can see the dragonflies flying around in the garden here. And one of the things I learned from my mother, who was a master gardener, is that when the balance of the pH in the soil or in the garden is correct, that's when dragonflies appear. It's sort of like a reassurance or a symbol that all things are in harmony or order. And 6 is a number of harmony. And this is a card about going forward once the harmony is established. So I'm really seeing some beautiful things here for you. Once you make it through of where you want to, once you do some reflection on where you want to invest your emotional energy, you may have a breakthrough about what is balanced, what is like watering enough. If you take the water over a garden, you don't want to put all the water on one side and none on the other. You want to sort of have an even distribution. So having many different parts of your life addressed allows you to kind of go to the next level and move forward. It says, everything's functioning properly as it should. That's where I'm getting the tightening of the wheels on the Chariot. It's like doing maintenance on your car. When things are in equilibrium, you can really progress forward. And that's what finding this balance is about. And it also leads to fullness. This is 3 of Cups. This is celebration. This is saying, I've got more than enough. I'm ready to celebrate. I'm ready to be supported by friends and family. In many decks, this is a picture of 3 women holding up cups and dancing. So it's feeling full. This card is just called fullness. So when we get to that point of like everything's taken care of, the maintenance on the car, the watering of the garden, everything is functioning as it should be. The give and take is in balance. Then fullness comes, growth. 3 is a card of growth. It's a card of creativity, and it means, especially in terms of our hearts, feeling celebratory, feeling joyful, feeling like now I can dance. Now I can lift up these cups and celebrate. It's a real confirmation of what makes me happy. The questions that you may have been asking at the beginning of April, it's a confirmation of, yes, I have figured out what makes me happy, and here it is. I'm celebrating. I'm enjoying it. I've got not only enough water coming in to fill my cup and another's, but excess. So I'm really excited for you, Libra, at the middle of April. Once you kind of evaluate this and decide where you're going to be putting out this symbolic water. What areas of your life are you going to nurture? What needs more balancing? Like, is this side lacking? Is this side in excess? When you find this, it takes you forward and really takes you to this joyful, celebratory, creative space. I also see following that 7 of air, which means this card it represents 7 of swords in the tarot. And it represents sometimes me behavior or cutting corners. In this card, in this deck, it's called futility. And sometimes it's reflective of risk-taking behavior or gambling or feeling like our efforts are wasted. So I want to encourage you, when you look at this, what do you need to cut out that maybe has been a futile use of your time and energy? Like, for example, these are very, very different opposite cards. This one is a card of celebration, fulfillment, joy, creativity, fullness. And this one is futility. It's like whatever actions are being taken, the results are not coming. This is the broken tip of an arrow. It's not even functional anymore. So it might be a good touchstone to think about again, the same thing as the beginning of the month. What fills me up? What makes me joyful? What makes me feel like I've got surplus versus what feels like wasted energy? What feels like I've been putting effort towards it or thinking about it. Sometimes it's even just wasted mental energy. What am I thinking about that is not bringing me results versus what I'm investing my heart in that does bring results, that brings me creativity, fullness, enjoyment, even feeling like celebrating. So these are contrasting cards. And I think for me, it's really a question of where do you want to invest your energy? Since you've come from this place of balance, it results in this naturally. But what else can you cut out that, especially mentally, in terms of thoughts, beliefs, ideas, old, outdated things that are no longer useful, that you can toss away? And I see you coming to a moment of realization of something, awakening to a new truth that, maybe I have been thinking about things that don't serve me, or maybe I want to cut out thoughts, beliefs, ideas that are just no longer functional, that have no longer served their purpose. This gives you an aha moment. This is Ace of Air, which represents Ace of Swords. And it's triumph, it's victory, it's clarity, insight. Like, I always call this card truth, or the truth will set you free. It's usually represented by a single sword, which is the Excalibur sword that Archangel Michael carries. And it basically says that the truth will set you free. When you're in alignment with the truth, it gives you great clarity, and it cuts away all the nonsense, all the futility, all the stuff that is just like excess that doesn't serve you. It's saying, okay, well, maybe there's one feather I'm going to pluck from this and really see the truth of the matter. Maybe I do need to cut away these old ways of thinking, or throw away excess things that are sitting around cluttering things that are no longer useful, especially in terms of thought. And just focus on the truth of the matter. Focus on what's real, what is undeniable. That's what Ace of Swords is about. And it's also a new way of thinking. So it's a new insight, all aces are new beginnings. So it's sort of like saying, I'm taking this going forward, and I'm only going to be in alignment with the truth. I'm only going to be in alignment with what's real. None of this old, outdated, unuseful stuff that just feels futile. And then towards the end of the month, we have the 4 of Earth, which represents security. stability, making things stable, making things feel grounded, assessing what it is that you have, that you own, what you value, and what keeps you connected and feeling like you have sure footing on things. Sometimes when this card comes up, it can represent an over focus on material things, and it can block us from receiving other things. But so sometimes the low side of this is that it can feel a little bit heavy. But ultimately, this is just saying you're wanting to maintain the status quo. You're wanting to keep things in a solid order is what I'm really realizing. And maybe it's even valuing the possessions that you have or the things that you have in your life, whether the things that are valuable to you, even if it's relationships. Usually the things that are most valuable are relationships with others. So this is saying, oh, aha, I have an aha moment. Yes, I really do have a lot of gifts, a lot of blessings, a lot of things that I value in my life. And it creates great security for me. In these last two cards, towards the end of the month, I see Two of Air, which is saying inner peace here, and Daughter of Air, which is the Page of Swords. So I really, with these two cards especially, actually all three of these in a row, we have the Ace of Air, the Two of Air. This is a card of truth. This is a card of inner peace. If there was any sort of challenge to becoming balanced, I see that happening. This has a lot of Libra energy to it, actually. And it's just called inner peace. It's identifying what's important to you and focusing on that. Simplicity, really, with both of these cards, and showing gratitude for what it is that you have. I really see you in a very nice, calm place here, Libra, towards the end of the month. And Daughter of Air is equivalent to Page of Air. And what she does is she speaks the truth. She speaks the truth as a child speaks the truth. You know how children can sometimes say the most obvious things, and they don't really consider what the impacts of their words are. They just say it directly, and it can be really refreshing, how the honesty of a child. So I'm going to encourage you to embrace that energy towards the end of the month and just be very honest, not in any premeditated way, not in any calculated way, not going for any particular effect, but just really speak what's on your mind and on your heart. The beauty of Daughter of Swords is that she speaks like a child and says exactly what's on her mind. And the high expression of that is that it's refreshing, that it can cause laughter, that it can just be that it's right there on the surface. And it's a beautiful energy to embody if you can get your heart to this place of peace. Your expression will naturally just be honest and true and like clear as a bell. So I'm excited for you with that too, Libra, towards the end of the month. It's really, I see you going from the Daughter of Water in reverse, what does my heart want, to I know my truth. I've connected with it. I've found it here. And not only that, but I can say it too. And I'm free. So beautiful reading for you, Libra, for this month. If the beginning of the month feels like it's still a little agitated, wait till we get till that middle of the month when Mercury comes direct out of Aries and we get that new moon in Aries. Just let your inner calmness, your inner grace, and your inner balance guide you until we get to that moving forward energy. And then I just see a lot of peace coming for you and being able to express yourself in a very free, clear, direct way.